I've upset someone, and I really should say something straight off the top. I seem to have got under the skin of the Albanese government's most dangerous and incompetent minister, which is actually good because the man I've offended is Energy Minister Chris Bowen, and I've offended him by telling the truth, again last night, that he is indeed dangerous and incompetent. Plus, Bowen also doesn't tell the truth. He lies like he did in complaining about me today in Parliament as he mocked Dan Tehan, the opposition's energy spokesman, because Tehan is trying to find a way for the Liberals to drop the disastrous net zero emissions target that the Nationals have already dropped, but which Chris Bowen still treats like a holy mission.
The Liberal Party say of the National Party, and I quote, they are terrorists, and the first rule of being a parasite is not to kill your host. It's all going swimmingly over there. All going swimmingly over there, Mr. Speaker, which resulted in the Shadow Minister for Climate Change on 7:30 report last night couldn't rule out the Liberal Party, the once great Liberal Party, supporting the construction of coal-fired power stations in Australia. I mean, the party of Harold Holt is now the party of Andrew Bolt.
Now let me explain why I said Bowen was a liar. For one, the Liberals are not the party of Andrew Bolt, sadly, or they'd never have been so dumb as to get in this mess. They'd never have agreed to the net zero by 2050 target in the first place 4 years ago, the target that Bowen still supports, the target that's helped drive up electricity prices more than 23% in just the past year alone, causing heavy industries to shut and you to feel a lot of pain. But what really makes Bowen a liar, again, is this bit of that attack on Tehan, which I'll just replay.
The Shadow Minister for Climate Change on 7:30 report last night couldn't rule out the Liberal Party, the once great Liberal Party, supporting the construction of coal-fired power stations in Australia.
That's false. Dan Tehan said no such thing last night. In fact, he refused 3 times to say on the ABC what Bowen today told Parliament he had said. Listen for yourself.
Does that mean that an option for more coal, as the Nationals put forward yesterday, could become a unified coalition policy?
Well, Sarah, I know you'd love me to announce our policy here on your program, but that would be not respecting my parliamentary colleagues, and I'm not going to do that.
No, he didn't commit to more coal-fired power stations. He refused to comment. You cannot trust the word Bowen says about anything to do with global warming. And how does this man even dare show his face in public after all these disasters? I mean, what happened to the billions that Bowen promised to spend to get green hydrogen, that miracle green gas that he claimed would save us?
Our green hydrogen future is fundamental to that clean energy future as a powerhouse.
What a disaster. Just about every green hydrogen project Bowen has touched has since stalled or cancelled. His planned wind farms too, way behind time and way over budget. In fact, every week comes more evidence that this guy is dangerous and incompetent. Today again. I mean, this time, reports that Bowen's push for Australia to host next year's United Nations Climate Conference in Adelaide, that it's going to cost $1 billion. And that's according to the government's own estimates. $1 billion to hold a climate talk fest in Adelaide? I mean, is Chris Bowen mad, or does he just not care about all the taxpayer money he's burning through? Now, honestly, if the Liberals could just get over their net zero nonsense, Chris Bowen and the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese would be sitting there like sitting ducks for them. I mean, you think what a fuss. Just one example. You think what a fuss Labor made at the last election with this lie that the 7 nuclear reactors the coalition was promising, they would cost $600 billion. When the truth, of course, was more like $120 billion.
You now are going to an election with a nuclear plan that will build 7 nuclear reactors that will cost $600 billion. What are you going to cut to pay for it?
But you compare costs. The government's net zero plans against the opposition's plans for 7 nuclear reactors to give us not just green power but reliable power, unlike wind. You compare. A report 2 years ago by the Net Zero Australia Coalition of climate and energy experts from Australia and America estimated the cost of getting to net zero by 2050 would require up to $9 trillion of capital to be invested to 2060. $9 trillion. That makes the coalition's 7 nuclear reactors look pretty cheap, doesn't it? That, you know, 120 billion against 9 trillion or $900 billion, whichever way you want to put it. Now, I should add that it's true that since Net Zero Australia report, which I just showed you, the group steering committee says, wait, it's being misrepresented. It's since published an update saying the difference between what we'd have to spend anyway on power supplies and the difference between that and the extra to get to net zero is more like $300 billion. But that actually strikes me as plainly wrong. But whatever. You just think of the damage already being done, in part by net zero policies. Massive power bills, the inflation. And things now are so bad under this government, these drivers of this cost of living crisis, because of, you know, electricity in particular, but other government bungling of the economy, so bad that a new report from the Food Bank charity says 20% of Australian households skipped meals or whole days of eating in the past year. So you've got to ask, how on earth did we come to this? Where questions like this were today asked in Parliament.
Food Bank's hunger report reveals that nearly 200,000 Queensland families went an entire day without eating in the past year. Prime Minister, why are people going hungry under Labor when the Prime Minister promised, and I quote, "No one held back and no one left behind"?
The Prime Minister's response, but look at all the handouts we're giving and you didn't support a lot of them. I mean, you know, they are the handouts, the subsidies, the temporary rebates, all of them expensive band-aids paid for by you to hide our decline in the cost of living crisis, thanks to Albanese and his Treasurer and the dangerous and incompetent Chris Bowen.